Hey, Seth David here from the world famous Nerd Enterprises Incorporated. And I want to talk to you about what it means. What are bulletproof books? If you've been following along what I've been posting in social media and in general what I've been talking about when it comes to bulletproof books, then you know that already that it means I can prove every number on any financial statement produced in a set of books that I'm claiming are bulletproof. Now, does that mean that I prepare every set of books on a bulletproof basis? No, absolutely not. That's why I've been distinguishing between compliance and bulletproof. And when somebody comes on board with us and wants us to do their books, I kind of present them both scenarios. And there's different pricing, right? Because there's a lot more value in bulletproof books, and it takes a lot more resources and documentation, frankly, to put a set of books together on that basis. Right? So one of the big things is I can prove every number, meaning you can pull up any line item in the detail of that expense account, and you can pick 5 receipts, and I'll be able to pull up or 5 expenses rather, and I'll be able to pull up the receipts in 30 seconds that prove not just the date of that the date lines up, not just that the amount is the same, and not just where the money was spent, but what the money was spent on. That's why statements aren't usually good enough, because a statement won't show me what the money was spent on. It'll just give me the date, where it was spent, and the amount. Right? So a credit card statement is not necessarily good enough. I need the actual receipt to prove everything about that receipt. And I talk about this in the course and in some of the free videos I've done on YouTube. You know, there's valuation, there's the period in which it was recorded. There's a number of things surrounding any transaction that we want to be able to prove. And a set of bulletproof books will be able to prove every one of these aspects, what we call the management assertions, about a transaction, and ultimately about any amount that's reported on any line item on a financial statement. But it's not just documentation. There's more. It's how the books are prepared. Give you a quick and very common example these days. A lot of us take PayPal as a payment method. And if you do, then you know that when I pull up that monthly PayPal statement, each transaction is recorded on its own line. Each of those deposits is made separately into the PayPal account, which makes it a lot easier accounting-wise. I don't have to figure out which 5 payments were grouped together in a single deposit like I do with other credit card processing systems, right? So that makes it easy. And so I have in each of those transactions the gross amount of the sale minus the PayPal fee equals the net amount that was deposited into the PayPal account. And each of those elements are part of the same transaction. But if I use the PayPal app in QuickBooks Online, it breaks it up. I have a deposit for the gross amount, and then I have an expense transaction for the fee in a separate transaction. And it all nets out the same, but A, it makes it harder to reconcile, especially when you have a lot of transactions. B, it's not how it appears on the statement. So to an outsider, like say an auditor or a potential investor or a bank looking to make a loan, somebody who's scrutinizing the financial statements, if they start digging in that deep and they start comparing, and things don't quite line up, it takes them a minute to figure out how it lines up, already that starts to raise doubt. Right? And that's just one very simple example. Granted, they'll figure it out quickly and say, okay, well, ultimately it's right. It's just a little weird way to do it, right? But still, it would raise doubt that maybe I need to scrutinize other areas of the books more closely, right? Because if we're not taking the time, if we don't care enough to make sure the books are a perfect mirror image of what happened in the real world with PayPal, where else aren't we doing that? And where else can it be worse, right? So this is what we want to keep in mind. Let me give you a quick progress update on our Bulletproof bookkeeping course. I've been rolling out lessons on sales, customers, and accounts receivable. Previous to this, you can see I've got a whole big section on bank feeds, and it doesn't just show you how to connect your bank account, it shows you every possible way to get banking transactions into QuickBooks. So if you're using the normal bank feeds method, and one day the bank feeds goes down, and while Intuit's saying it's the bank, and the bank is saying it's Intuit, so you don't have to get caught in the crossfire, I give you other options for how you can easily get your transactions in until they kind of work out whatever they need to work out between them, right? In other words, you don't have to let that stuff slow you down. I give you the resources right here so you can usurp the bank and Intuit and get your transactions into QuickBooks Online, right? And that's what this next section here within Bank Feeds is all about. Right? I go through all the lists, the major lists in details, because this is designed for anybody with either zero experience or lots of experience. And even if you have a lot of experience, there's probably some things you'll see in these lessons that might strike you as, oh, I didn't realize that, or I didn't know about that. You know, there's always something we can learn if we're humble enough to recognize that. And now I'm rolling out sales, customers, and accounts receivable down to invoicing for services and non-inventory items, then products and inventory, and then bundles. And let me share with you, I'm not just showing you how to record these transactions. I'm not just showing showing you how to set up a product. I'm showing you how the way you set up a product is going to drive very specifically when you post an invoice or a sales receipt, how and where those items are going to show up on the balance sheet and on the profit and loss. When I'm selling a product, lots of stuff happens on the balance sheet and on the profit and loss, and it's important to understand when I map those products to 3 different accounts that I'm going to map them to, because I've got an inventory asset, an income account, and what they call an expense account, which is really going to be cost of goods sold. 3 different accounts affected every time I post an invoice for the sale of a product. At least 2 affected every time I post an invoice for the sale of a service. And then in the example I use with bundles, we're using both in a single line item on a single invoice so that you can see all of it is happening the minute I hit save and close on that invoice. So I'm not kidding when I say I believe this is the most robust course on bookkeeping ever to hit the internet, and I do constantly reinforce with each lesson exactly how what I'm showing you makes the difference between having bulletproof books versus books that we might just call compliance, right? So of course, if you have any questions, reach out to me. You know how to find me. I'm delivering this course on a new platform to me called Kajabi. Kajabi's been around for a minute. The new blog is here. All you have to do is click up here where it says Nerds Blog Sign Up. Give me your email address. That's just so you can kind of get the free product, which is what the blog is. It's a free course that I've done, and I've set it up that way because it makes it easy for me to organize it in a way that's going to make it really easy for you to find what you're looking for and follow along. Just leave this box unchecked if you don't want to get emails from me. Okay, and then sign up for free. And then it'll take you over to another screen where if you don't already have an account on my system here, it'll ask you to create one. And if you have an account at the original nerdenterprises.com, understand that this one's different. It's a new database. It's a new system because it's being hosted at Kajabi. So my site is, at least for now, sort of split off into 2. Little by little, I'm bringing it all over to the Kajabi platform because I love the way this makes it really easy for me to manage everything in one place, and it's going to make it really easy for you to understand where to go to find what you're looking for, find it quickly, and get the resources you need in order to get through it and get back to what you do best, which, if you're not a bookkeeper or an accountant, is probably not bookkeeping and accounting, right? If you are a bookkeeper and accountant, then it's going to get you back to running your practice right away. So, as always, if you have any questions, reach out to me. I hope to see you. If you haven't, sign up for the course. Remember that while it's still rolling out, it's only $500. After that, it goes back up to its normal price of $997, and I'll probably be increasing it from there because, as you can see, and I haven't even gotten halfway through it, and there's already a lot of content, especially for the money. So hope to see you in the course. You know how to find me if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, and I love to get all of those things. I love questions, I love comments, and I definitely love feedback because that's what helps me improve.